So is it like having Trouble back again? Your original dog?
Yes. I mean, I do know the original Trouble isn't here anymore. And
you do know that?
Yes, I do know. Yes, I do know that he died. Everybody I know.
Okay. Right.
But he does, show me a lot of the same, characteristics that Trouble did. He does the same things that he did.
Like what are some of the similarities?
Well, when I play with him, he bounces around a lot. He likes to lay on the floor and extends his legs out. He loves going underneath the bed, and then when you go near the bed, he tries to bite your feet, and that's exactly what Trouble did.
Excuse me, doctor, but what is impossible? What is impossible, doctor?
Mononuclear reproduction.
Oh, doctor.
Cloning. What if I were to tell you that I could take a scraping of skin from your finger and create another Ezra Lieberman?
I would tell you not to waste your time or my finger.
Anyway, that is cloning. It was first done with plants. A cutting taken from a plant and transplanted grew to be the exact duplicate of the donor plant. Now we are doing the same thing with laboratory animals.
You mean you can produce an animal from itself?
We take the unfertilized egg of an ovulating female and destroy all of its genes and chromosomes. We then implant the nucleus of the donor cell, which could be taken from a blood sample or even a skin scraping. That cell, with its genetic material intact, eventually becomes an embryo and is born as a living creature.
Without parents?
Well, it has no father because the egg was never fertilized, no mother because its genetic code comes from another being. Can you follow that?
And this creature is an exact duplicate of itself? Oh, doctor, how can that be?
Come along. Our experiments began with the simplest of animals, shrimps and frogs. Animals in which the female's eggs are fertilized externally. Then we moved on to mammals. We tried several laboratory animals and found the rabbit most convenient. I had to develop instruments which could accomplish the operation, and a whole micro-injection system. I'll show you how it's done. Here we are removing the eggs of a white rabbit from the fallopian tubes. Now, you see the egg under a microscope. I've brought the point of an ordinary sewing needle into view to give an idea of size.
They are that small?
Most mammal eggs are about that size.
Including human eggs?
Yes. The next step is to destroy the egg nucleus with ultraviolet light so that none of its genetic makeup remains. Now, you see an egg from a white rabbit ready to be injected with the blood cell from a black rabbit donor. With the injection pipette, one of the blood cells is sucked up and then injected into the egg. After a few hours, the eggs in culture divide and are ready to be put back into the female. There they grow into embryos, which in a month's time, the normal gestation period, they will become baby rabbits. In this instance, a black litter from a white mother and their black collar proves that they have been cloned from the blood cell of a black rabbit.
But isn't it difficult to get the egg back into the female?
Transferring the eggs isn't a problem. We do that all the time with laboratory animals. The really tricky part is the microsurgery. Getting the donor cell into the egg. You're lucky if 1 in 10 survives.
And this can be done with humans?
If the surgical technique were precise enough.
It's monstrous, Doctor.
Why? Wouldn't you want to live in a world full of Mozarts and Picassos? Of course, it's only a dream. Not only would you have to reproduce the genetic code of the donor, but the environmental background as well. Is Mengele trying to reproduce himself?
No. He has brown eyes and he comes from a very wealthy family.
Let's examine the family background of the donor. His father is 65 years old, a civil servant. The mother is 42, you said. She dotes on the child. Boy. The boy is pale, dark hair, blue eyes, spoiled. Right? Now, Mengele would certainly know every social and environmental detail would have to be reproduced. Thus, if the parents were divorced when the boy was 10, this would have to be arranged.
Dr. Büttner, the one who is cloned, the donor, he has to be alive, doesn't he?
Not necessarily. Individual cells taken from a donor can be preserved indefinitely. With a sample of Mozart's blood and a woman, someone with the skill and the equipment could breed a few hundred baby Mozarts. My God, if it's really been done, what I'd give to see one of those boys. Herr Liebermann! Herr Liebermann.
Not Mozart, Doctor. Not Picasso. Not a genius who would enrich the world, but a lonely little boy with a domineering father, a customs officer who was 52 when he was born, and an affectionate, doting mother who was 29. The father died at 65 when the boy was nearly 14. Adolf Hitler.
All I need to do is take 2 cells off of your body, yours. We give them a small electrical charge. I'm just they'll act like a fertilized egg. If I got a fertilized egg, all I need is a receiver in order to make it. So they were hypnotizing women, you know, said they were being invaded by aliens. And the fetus starts growing, right? Needs food. Well, they can use cows and sheep too. Again, a food source, that's all we need. After about 14 weeks, all of a sudden that fetus is gone, because they've learned to take, that's when the fetus starts developing its own blood supply. Then they've used a pituitary hormone extract that they have, which accelerates the being that grows. And the original technology was given to our government by the Greys. Now, the reason was that our scientists were all excited because we could have spare parts. If you need a heart or a liver or anything, you won't have any rejection. It's your own DNA. Something to ponder. Get some old videos of George Bush. when he first come into office. Look at the person and listen to him speak. Look at his actions and listen to his everything that's there. Now, it's a lot easier to put somebody out in front to act as a, even Bush did. He had somebody else that was up there acting like he is and look like it. Even Hitler had he had his stand. In fact, his stand-in was the one that they found in the ground over in Germany. I mean, Hitler and Eva and the dog and 14 other people got aboard a plane and flew down to Barcelona, Spain. You were aware of that. And then ended up in Antarctica or in Swabenland and then died a few years ago in Brazil.
That's what we heard. That's
Oh,
what we heard.
I have all the documents from our own government.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a contact, one of our
Stalin
contacts.
Stalin asked for the, they tried to burn the body and he got the body back and he said, wait a minute, different ears and the testicles were different and everything else. So they knew it wasn't Hitler.
But is it a clone or not?
Oh, now going about cloning. Cloning techniques, since 1938, they've been making clone people. There's 8 countries making clones. I have a doctor friend that all it does is treat the clones.
Where do you get your information?
I get it from some of the people that are willing to come forth, and they talk to me because they hope I'll put the information out because they always got 2 people following them and they may be killed. If I start talking about cloning too much, the people that get involved into that disappear on it. So I don't go into too many more details, but there is information that's available. And more and more of that's coming on the line. I just told you, go rent the movie.
Okay, Boys from Brazil.
Yeah, and you'll see the whole technique on what they show it to you in different places, so you can imagine what it's going on.
Okay, so...
Now, let's go to the next step, because this is the most important part.
All right.
If your physical reality that you have, based on this physical life that you have, this dream, is made up of the experiences that is impregnated on your body and in your mind, consciously, right? Mm-hmm. Your soul memory is another thing. Mm-hmm. It goes back whatever time that you elected to be in this incarnation for whatever reason. Now let's show you the division on these things. Since the body's very physical, and we just got you making a physical being in a few months for spare parts, they said, now we've got the perfect deal. How can we have that work better? Well, if you go to the hospital today and get an encephalogram, what's that? That's the memory of your conscious mind. It's on the CD. Let's download it on this being. Now we got a walking, talking duplicate that has the total memory that you have because we just took it off of your own mind.
Okay, it's like Blade Runner, the android.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. The only thing is that it's like this DVD recorder. Sometimes you have glitches in it, so you have to have them tuned up occasionally or redone. And so we take them to Camp David, or there's a wing at Bethesda Hospital, to just tell you. If you go down there and check, you'll find the nurses, if they're willing to come forth, they'll tell you they work on those people, and they call them the others. I thought it was interesting. They're people. Remember, these people can think and act, but they don't have soul. That's also prophesized. Soulless beings.
That's true.